Hello, everybody, and welcome to our special episode about all things Halloween, the movies. So, the new Halloween 3 just came out, and we just want to talk about Halloween and everything about it. But I am half your host, Connie.
And I'm your other half, Tristan.
So, if you don't know, now you know, Halloween is my absolute favorite movie. Michael Myers is a legend. When do you think we first saw Halloween?
I think we first saw it back probably when we were 3 or 4 years old. It was when we basically were glued to the box television watching VHS tapes like all day long, and all we watched were horror movies. So I think that's probably the earliest we were introduced to them.
Yeah, I remember our oldest sister. She'd get mad at us because on Christmas we'd be watching Halloween and scary movies and stuff. I remember one time I was massaging our mom's feet, and she's she's like, "I'll let you watch Halloween 4 if you massage my feet." And Titanic. It was always those ones I really wanted to watch.
Yeah, I remember every single year when we would go trick or treating, we would come right back home. That way we didn't miss the Halloween thon on AMC, and we would watch every single movie until it stopped.
Yeah, we would sort out our candy and watch it. And shout out to AMC for Fear Fest. I still watch it. I watched it today. House of Wax was on, and the reason why I have cable is for AMC for their Fear Fest. I just love it.
I don't have cable. I'm still a stream buff, but I'm probably going to get my Blu-rays out and watch Ready or Not or You're Next or something.
2018, they brought back Jamie Lee, and they announced that it'd be a 3-part movie franchise set. So it'd be Halloween, Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends. And it would just be from the first one to this one, so 40 years later. And the first Halloween, the 2018 one, I liked it. Just to tell you, I left the movie theater very mad that day. Okay, I liked it as a movie. I did. I think the writing was impeccable. The score was great. The character development was great. I I will say this. If they took out Michael Myers, I don't know how, but the fact that it was just I just don't think, in my personal opinion, don't come for me, that this would have been how they would have reunited. I just like, I don't know. It's just that Lori was an alcoholic and she was angry. She didn't take care of her daughter and she's hiding out, waiting for Michael Myers. I personally don't think Lori would have done that. I don't know. It just wasn't the same Lori to me. I will say in Halloween Ends, though, the one that just came out, love Lori in that. That's how I felt like Lori should have been. And I know they did that for a reason, to show how strong she made it through. So I understand why they made Lori the way she was in Halloween 2018. But man, I just loved her in the new one. I felt like that was the most like Lori to the 1978 one.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the Halloween film, especially like when Michael Myers is a psychiatrist, got his face stomped in. That was brutal, and I loved it.
I just don't think Michael would do that.
Yeah, I know. And I know they did the same thing in Halloween Ends
Which
where
I don't think that character should have died, and we'll get into that.
like Anthony Michael Hall, his character, and Kyle Richards' character, like they could have like been the perfect duo for Halloween Kills and like kicked Michael's butt, you know? I would have loved to seen that, but we only got to see Tommy do it.
In the new one, I love Kyle Richardson. I love her so much, and I was so excited that she was going to be in Halloween Ends because her character Lindsay didn't die, and she's been in a lot of promotion for this movie, and I'm like, yeah. And they're calling them the final girls, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for this. Like, they're gonna kick some booty, they're gonna kill Michael's butt, and Kyle Richardson in this one is barely in it, and she did so much promotion for this, and I'm like, all I get. Like, I'm glad I got her in some scenes, but I'm like, this is all I get of I thought they were going to kick some ass. I thought they were going to be a dynamic final girl finale. We get that, but not with Kyle, which I would have loved to seen.
It was more of like Allison's character is fallen in love with a guy that's, you know, trying to become the next Michael Myers and befriends Michael Myers of all people.
Yeah. So we're going to get into Halloween Ends. So this does contain spoilers and our reaction to it, because we have a lot of feelings. I will say the movie was great, but we'll just talk about it. So the first part of the movie is a 21-year-old boy who's babysitting a little boy comes to this huge house with a weird staircase that I haven't seen since like some old 70s scary movie. And I'm like, those staircases are not safe. And they kind of did some foreshadowing with it. And so the parents leave and they're watching a scary movie, of course. And the little boy's a little shit.
No, I love that line when he's like, I don't like pretending to be friends with an ugly ass boy babysitter.
Ruthless. Well, the little boy pulls a prank on him. Corey, the 21-year-old, gets locked into the attic. I don't even know what to call it. And
Yeah.
the kid is messing with them. Well, Corey breaks down the door right when the parents get home, and the little boy falls down the stairs and he passes away. And it goes through what happened since Michael disappeared. So from 2018 to present day, it shows some weird deaths that aren't related to Michael Myers and how the town is kind of cursed. But then it shows Jamie Lee, Laurie Strode's character, who's very strong. She seems like she let go a lot of trauma. She's working through a lot of triggers, and she's living with Allison in this house. She's hanging up Halloween decorations. She's writing a book, and I really like this character. I really like Laurie like this, and I really wish this was the characters previously. But yeah, I just really like Laurie's character in this one. But Allison, she works at the hospital, and Corey is the babysitter. He is out of jail and found not guilty. And of course, the whole town hates him. And I really liked the Corey character in the beginning. I really felt super bad for him. He seemed like a really smart, sweet kid. And I just don't like bullies. People are just mean for like no reason. And obviously it was an accident what happened. But I was like, okay, Sweet kid, great for Allison. But it just shows how terrible life has been for Corey. And Allison kind of wants to take him under her wing. And they fall in love. But during this time, he finds Michael Myers.
Yeah, that was really odd, to be thrown off of a bridge, and then next thing you know, you're being dragged by the Michael Myers, and you're in some sewer, and you wake up, and then you're like, oh, I can get out of this little tunnel here. And next thing you know, Michael Myers is like, no, you're not going anywhere. And then all of a sudden, you get this weird, like, extension, like, look into the shape's eyes, and you're going to see what I see.
You're going to have these powers.
And you're going to, like, have these little killing powers. I'm going to give them to you type ordeal.
Yeah, and Michael was in between these cracks in the sewer. So, like, Michael drags this kid into the sewer. So, and then he's in the crack, but he's not coming out of the crack, and he's choking him. And it's like, I'm too weak. But it was very odd to me.
Yeah,
And
that was odd, but I kind of got what they were getting, but I think they tied it in, like, at the end. But when he gets out of the tunnel, the homeless man that we all saw, he comes up to Corey and he's like, no one comes out of there alive. What did you do? Like, who are you? And then he tries to kill Corey, and then Corey kills him, which it's in self-defense, but all of a sudden Corey's like, I feel different. I'm not myself.
Yeah, so Corey then becomes a different character, kind of possessed in a way, and he wants to be a killer now, but he's madly in love with Allison, and they do like little adventures together and whatnot, and Laurie Strode is kind of noticing something about him. Like, she said that she sees Michael's eyes in him. And the parents of the little boy who died, the father noticed that too when he saw him walking down the street. He said, I know he didn't kill my husband, he didn't kill my son, but him now is not the same person. Corey kind of goes after people that's doing Allison dirty. And so it's a coworker and the boss. Of course, they're banging. And these people are mean to Allison. And they're at the doctor's house. And, of course, you see it's from the point of view of the girl nurse, the redhead, who's banging her boss. She's obviously younger, but the old man tells her to go take a shower. So she's going into the shower. Did you notice that the knobs were red, like the second one?
Yeah.
I will say these newer ones have a lot of Easter eggs from the previous ones. So I was like, oh, we're gonna get a water scene.
Well, I think in the second one, the nurse that gets in the jacuzzi, she was a redhead.
I can kind of, yeah, she was like slightly,
Yeah.
I think like a strawberry.
Yeah, it was either like strawberry blonde or she was red, but I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. But are we going to get the same scene?
No, we didn't, because then she walks outside to the pool area, and you can see them in the background, but it's dark, and she turns around to the lights. She turns on the lights or something, and Corey is wearing a mask of a scarecrow that Allison gave him to go to a party at a bar, and he's killing the doctor. Well, she runs inside. Corey chases her, but of course she gets inside safely. and she's trying to call 911. And then Michael Myers comes out of the closet and he kills her. And I'm like, are they doing this?
Yeah, that was really weird. I was not expecting it, but then when Corey stopped like fiddling with the door handle, I was like, yeah, he's gonna come out of somewhere, and sure he did. And he But man, the way he killed her to like throw it back to the original 78 film, that I like that. That was nice.
Well, this is an hour into the movie, and this is the first one he's killed. Michael, technically. And so I don't know what happens. Michael goes back to his cage, his sewer. We don't see him go back there, but he goes back there. And Corey feels powerful. So he tells Allison that they should run away together. Mm-hmm. And then he kills the record store, he kills the radio host that yelled at them earlier, kills the reception. He kills all the mean marching band kids, little punks. And he was being picked on earlier in the movie by these marching band, 2 boys and 2 girls. And one wasn't really messing with him. Not Stacy. It was a redhead, curly hair girl. And she was the only one not picking on him. And he runs her over, but he still kills her.
Yeah, the gate like saved her from being ran over, and then the kid that started all the chaos, just screwing with Corey in the beginning, he was going to save her, and then next thing you know, the way that he died, the welding torch, oh, that was screwed up. I was not expecting that. I mean, that's pretty elaborate. Like, you have to get the can, turn it on, ignite it, and then, whoop.
I felt bad because his dad got shot, not by his son, not by Corey, but by that kid, the marching band mean kid, shot him by accident. And when the dad came out, it was like, oh, don't kill your dad. But then he doesn't kill his dad. His dad gets killed.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, Corey kills his mom, so clearly he was going to off his dad off irregardless.
I don't know if he was going to kill his dad because he took his mask off.
Yeah.
Whoa. Before we even talk about this, Corey goes back to the cave to get Michael's mask.
Oh,
and this scene,
yeah.
I'm not kidding you. Chris, my husband, can tell you. Corey stomps his little feet into the cave to get Michael's mask. And he's wrestling with Michael Myers. And I'm not kidding you. I was like, they're not doing this. This isn't happening. I repeated it like 10 times. I was like, this isn't happening. This is not happening. I even got it from the couch. I was like, no, they're not doing this. That scene, what the heck was that?
I love that scene because it just like solidified everything. Corey comes in and he's like, I'm gonna get you, Michael, pins him down, rips his mask off, and he's like, you're nothing but an old man wearing a mask. And I'm like, okay, well, the whole hysteria of him being like some super demon from hell killing people is like out the window. Like, this guy is just an old man wearing a mask, mentally insane, just killing people. And I think that really like solidified it for me.
I hate it.
I know you hate it.
I hate it. That's not Mikey. Well, anyways, after he kills the marching men people and his mom and stuff like that, Laurie Strode knows something's going to happen. So she's preparing. And so she pretends that she's going to kill herself. She's drinking, which she's a recovering alcoholic, so I was like, that's definitely apple juice. And she's upstairs. She's making sure that the lights are on and the windows, you can see through them. And she's getting the gun. And she just knows something's coming for her. So the camera view is now on Corey. And you hear a gunshot and splatter. And he opens the door. And then it's Lori pointing a gun at him. And she shot a pumpkin to make it look like how she would kill herself. Corey falls down the stairs.
So when she shoots him, which looked exactly like the original 78 when Dr. Loomis shot him, and then he falls down just like Jeremy, the little kid, did. And she gets down and she's like, do you really think like I would let you do any of this? Like, I don't know. She's like, I'm not stupid. And they're just talking and he's just sitting there and she empties the gun. And I'm like, why would you do that? Don't empty the gun. You don't know what's going to happen. And next thing you know, he's like, well, you know what? If I can't have Allison, then he just stabs himself in the neck, which made no sense to me.
Well, I think he knew that Allison was going to come back and that if Allison saw Lori,
yeah, that's right.
then he knew that Allison would never forgive her grandma.
Yeah,
so Allison leaves and she's mad, and Lori goes into the corner and she's upset because she upset her granddaughter, but obviously she didn't kill Corey, he killed himself. And so she's upset in the corner. It's very dark, but she realizes that her back door is open. And she's like, oh no. Here we go. And it's like the original, the kitchen back door. And so Michael comes in and he's getting his mask back. He's like, So Corey isn't dead. And Michael is like, you failed me, kid. And he kills Corey.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. So then it's the final showdown between Lori and Michael. And this is the very ending of this movie. Not the very ending, but like the ending of the movie. This is how it's all going to tie together. And although I don't mind this scene, I wasn't really expecting one thing or another. I was like, she was in the pantry and he was coming, and I was like, I don't know how she's going to get out of this. But she does, and then she stabs Michael's hands through the counter and pushes the fridge on him, so he's pinned down. And she's doing other things, but I'll keep that cut out. And he escapes the knife and chokes her, but then she remembers that Allison comes through and saves the day. And they kill Mikey, put him on top of the car, and takes him to get... It's not a wood chipper.
No, it's like an incinerator.
Yeah, like what they put cars through.
Cars and stuff.
Yeah, which is kind of ironic because he wears a mechanic suit. So I kind of like that. Of course, I don't like the fact they killed him, but...
Well, yeah, I liked how all the cops were like, this is not procedure. We don't do this. And then the sheriff comes, he's like, well, tonight, yeah, because this needs to stop.
Well, Lori does the honors and pushes him through, and you see Michael... He officially, his body's gone, and Allison moves away from Haddonfield, and Lori and the one sheriff.
Oh my god, that's like a love story of a lifetime right there.
Cute couple. I ship them. But I can see how they were in the writing room and they're like, oh, I have this idea. I think that the first hour was mainly about Corey. And I think the way they should have executed it was maybe tone it down to 20 minutes or 10 minutes. So the opening scene, that's probably like 7 minutes. So I would have allowed that. But like 20 more minutes of the Corey story to like kind of him trying to be like, I think they just drew it out too long about the Corey thing, because like this is the ending. This is the end of Michael Myers, and they have him in a sewer barely doing anything, and then they wanted to humanize him. They wanted him more human-like than more demon-like.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting like something way different and not like here's a new character and let's just get this huge timeline for this character and oh, we're going to give you like this sense that he's going to be the next Michael Myers. And I don't know. I mean, they tied it in so well. Like, the first gas station scene where the marching band kids are picking on Corey and he falls and gets glass in his hand. Disgusting. But Laurie Strode comes over, helps him up, and she's like, so are you the psycho or the freak show? And then that one scene where he gets kicked out of his parents' house, he goes back to the Michael Myers house and wakes up to Laurie Strode, and Laurie's like, I'm on to you. I can see it in your eyes. And then Corey's like, well, you're not gonna win. And he's like, you know, when you asked me if I was the psycho or the freak show, I'm the psycho. And, I mean, they did little things like that where it got tied in pretty well, but I don't know. The whole, huh?
I see where they were what they were trying to do. I just don't think it should have been the finale.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense with the first two.
Yeah, and maybe this was probably all they could do if they shot during the pandemic or something.
No, they shot it this year.
It was this year?
It was the ending of last year and the beginning of this year, I'm pretty sure, in Georgia.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But, yeah, there was, I feel like there was, I mean, it was all there. It's still a really good movie. But is it like the ending for the franchise? I just don't think it was it. I think it missed the mark.
There was no Michael in it. And it's supposed to be Michael's ending. And I'm not trying to idolize Michael at all. Of course, I don't want people killing each other. I wish there was more. I wanted to see more Michael. I didn't like to see him as a human. And I get it, he is a human. He's a man. And he kills people, and they didn't want him to be they just wanted to prove that evil can be in all shapes. informs. So, movie was great, but it just wasn't Michael. It just wasn't Halloween for me. And I'm kind of sad that this is how it ended. And I knew I shouldn't. I should have realized that it wasn't going to end the way I wanted it, because the first one, the 2018, wasn't the way I wanted it. And so, but they don't write for me. And I think Jamie Lee's proud of it, so that's all that really matters, I guess.
Yeah, because if we're gonna go on like the original timeline of how all the films were released before these movies, like her character died. Michael killed her. And I think this is like the perfect redemption where it's like the final girl does not get killed. And I mean, I do like movies where you know, there is no final girl, there is no final person. Like, it's complete doomsday. Like, you're all dead. But in this case, where you have like a huge franchise, a huge fan base, you just can't kill the final girl. And I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis got like her redemption for this franchise. And I think they closed it out with grace and so forth. But
I don't mind them killing Michael off. That's not the issue. I'm glad that Lori found a happy ending, that she could close this chapter. They should have closed the chapter, honestly. I think that's what the goal was to close this chapter. But it was just the final book, you know?
yeah, and to watch the movies back to back, I'm pretty sure it would feel pretty fluent. It would flow well. And
I don't.
because if you watch like all the other original movies, like it kind of has the flow, but at the same time, you're like, huh, you have to think about it a little bit.
I feel like I understand, maybe because I've seen them 1,000 times, I understand the other ones better than this one. I just felt like the Halloween and Halloween Kills, it just didn't feel like Lori to me. Now, Halloween Ends, I felt like that was Lori's character. And then Karen, it didn't really feel like. And then, I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me.
And maybe that's just in due time will feel different. I mean, there's plenty of movies that I watched that I'm like, wow, that was pretty bad. But then when you start watching it again, it's like, okay, I understand that. It's like Wes Craven's My Soul to Take. Like one of my favorite movies. But it got such a bad rap. And I don't understand why. Because the more that you watch the movie, the more you pick up on everything. You're like, that makes complete sense.
You know what movie is like that to me?
Huh.
About Time.
Oh, come on.
I did not like.
Favorite all-time movie.
I didn't like it when it first came out. I'm like, this is horrible. And then 2020, it came on Netflix. I watched it like 8 times every day. I was like, I love this movie. I could watch it on repeat every day. I love it.
Literally, I listened to the soundtrack from Bellowhead, the singer Bellowhead, and it's such a beautiful movie.
Beautiful movie. If you don't want to watch someone kill people, I recommend this one. In Halloween Ends, I wish Kyle Richardson was in it more, and I wish there was like her saving Jamie, like protecting her in some way. And I could watch these movies. It's not like I'm gonna ban them forever and that I hate them. I don't hate them. It's just not how I would have wanted it to go down. They're still great. They're in their own ways. Now, I think my least favorite one out of the three is Halloween Kills. I hate the Halloween scene. Jamie's barely in it. The kill scenes, some are just... So I think my least favorite one is the second one. I don't have a favorite, but...
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite either, but I like the cinematography. I like the color grade. They kept it flowing. Um, I like all the hints of the first and second movie and the three movies. Um, Even the score in the beginning of Halloween Ends. Roger, Jeremy's dad, he's playing the piano, and it's from the first movie. I love that. And they brought back the POV, um, point of vision, the scene in the junkyard deaths, and when he killed his mom, Corey did. I like that. But yeah, I mean, I know like you're a die-hard Halloween fan and you're very disappointed, but at least it's kind of like when people were mad about Paramore's last album. And Paramore was like, look, you have our whole discography on YouTube, listen to it whenever you want, but we are moving on. And it's kind of like that. It's like, here's all the Halloween films that we made. They're there for you whenever you want. But here's what we wanted to end it with.
They had to evolve it in a way. And of course, they didn't want it to be like the other ones. So I get that.
Well, another thing, which is why I'm not like super mad about the last three Halloween films, is John Carpenter, okayed all of this. And he's like the biggest critic when it comes to movies.
I think Stephen King tweeted something to support this movie too. And I love Stephen King and I love John Carpenter. So, like, I respect that.
Yeah, and we all know I love Stephen King with all the Stephen King books I've bought my entire life.
But all right, guys, that is kind of the history of Michael Myers and our reaction to Halloween Ends. I love Michael Myers. I love the Halloweens. It's just two different franchises, but the same character. And I probably prefer the ones I grew up on. And that's okay. I still like the new ones, but that's just not my cup of tea. And my favorite timeline will probably be the Loomis's timeline. But I like all of them. But let us know which one's your favorite in the comments. What's your favorite?
I'm a sucker for like new technology and how like things are filmed nowadays. So I will say probably the last three are my favorite, but I'm a sucker for the first and the second one. So
Oh, yeah. Second one was terrifying. I loved it. I loved the hospital one. But all right, guys, we will see you next week.